I'm M, who you with, Kurt Dog. You've been hearing me talk about it for a while. Um, Tonight, we're going to deal with malicious parent syndrome. Um, Want to welcome everybody from Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Periscope. You can live chat with us. The reason why um, I wanted to do this show, most people that know me um, know that I have a daughter that I just recently had the opportunity of last year um, to see her for the first time in 16 years because I'm a victim of malicious parent syndrome. And tonight we're going to discuss those signs of them. And we're also going to try to help someone that may be the parent that is trying to keep the kids away from the other parent. And it may not be you. It may be somebody who you know. Somebody who you know. So definitely share the video and let them come in because if you have someone talk about, oh, my baby mama this, my baby daddy this, uh, they don't need to see the kids or nothing like that. That's signs of malicious parent syndrome. We're also gonna allow you to call in tonight, just like every night. Uh, I'll put the number up in the chat. But I want to say welcome to Miss Kincaid to the show. She's here. She's back by popular demand. Welcome, Miss Kincaid.
Good evening. How's everybody doing?
Doing great. I appreciate
Wonderful.
you for taking the time out of your busy schedule
No problemo.
to come on and talk about this subject that is um, really dear and true to my heart
I
because
know, I know.
I I have met several people that have said they dealt with this. Are they dealing with it? Or they know somebody who's dealing with it?
Mhm.
So, um, as you heard me say, um, my daughter, I had the opportunity of seeing her last year for the first time in 16 years uh, because of malicious parent syndrome. I didn't know what it was. I just knew my daughter was at somewhere in the world. I looked for her for 16 years. And finally, I seen her. End up finding her on social media. And when I seen her, I sent her a message. And when I sent the message, it was actually on LinkedIn. Sent the message, and 15 minutes later, her LinkedIn account was down. But I was able to see her graduate. Welcome to the show, SAL, out of Florida. So this show is not just about me, but it's also about other people that's dealing with the same thing.
Mhm.
You may not know the signs of them, and that's why Miss Kincaid is here tonight. And you can call in 972-591-3665. You can also chat live with us in the chat. So, all right, I made it through that part, Miss Kincaid.
Okay, good. I'm glad, Curtis. Because I know this is a real hard topic for you. But it hits home, and in therapy we always talk about it's good to talk it out. It's and also give other people the opportunity to talk about it as well. Um, and it's malicious, parenting syndrome. It is, you might not have known what it was called, but it's that one parent, whether it be mother or father, that's keeping that child away from the other parent through different means. Sometimes it's moving away, far away, never, giving that address, or losing all contact with that parent. And a lot of times it's also, making the other parent appear dysfunctional, not being a good parent. And a lot of kids are full, under that umbrella. A lot of kids are being told that their parents didn't love them, didn't want them, or telling their parents that your dad is a deadbeat, your mom is a deadbeat, because mothers and fathers now are parenting, being single parents. So we just can't say it's the mother doing it to the father, because now sometimes it's the father doing it to the mother, and a lot of time it's the result of something that happened between the two adults. But unfortunately, the other parent brings the child in, which shouldn't it never happen.
Exactly. And also, um, the parent would lie on the kids too, on the parent, and say, "Oh, they did this, they did that," and knowing it's not true,
Oh
y-
yeah.
just to try to keep that child away from that parent.
Yeah. And the custodial parent, the parent that child is with, they're going to believe that parent, and like I said, we see story after story in regards to it, that a parent, because they felt like they had some kind of vendetta, you know against the other parent, they make them a monster to that child's eye. They make them a monster.
It's definitely hard to deal with, but I had some great people in my life that when it got real bad,
Great.
I could call them. They prayed with me,
Mhm.
give me encouraging word. Um, my boy Orion Thomas, um, I remember calling him 2, 3 o'clock in the morning
Mhm.
because it's like I could hear her calling my name in the middle
Mm.
of the night. And with doing that, um, I would call him. He had to be at work at 6. And I would get up, leave the house, and talking to him, and we're talking, praying and stuff. And he never complained about it.
Okay.
Never said a thing about it.
Great friend.
Exactly. He
Mhm.
was willing to listen with me, and it's hard. Um, as they said, yes, my husband has he seen his kids since 2017. He went to court, got visitation right, and she still doesn't go by the order,
Yeah.
but want him to pay for college. Um,
But you have to keep on they have to keep on pressing, because the Lord's on your side, and it gets it's a tedious task. It's hard, but you have to keep on fighting for your rights, and sometimes you just have to fight just like that. And if that other parent, decides to go against the court order, that's on them.
yes, and and the best way of doing that, um, well, they're in college now, but if someone is dealing with it with underage kids, talk with your attorney. Keep records
Hmm.
of everything that parent is doing.
Hmm.
Um, keep records and make sure you every time you're supposed to get them and they decide, oh, they got this to do, got that to do. Keep records because it's happening so much. They're trying to change the laws to keep it from happening.
Hmm.
So, and it's hard. It's hard. It's definitely hard.
It is.
Um, but
You have to fight.
you have to continue to fight, continue to love your kids, and
Hmm.
don't give up because a lot of time what happened, um, some people cannot deal with the stress of not having a kids, and they
Hmm.
be like, "Oh, I don't want to deal with it. I just give up.
Yep.
I give up. I won't go after them. Won't do any of this."
Hmm.
But see, for me, I had one phone number to her aunt. I would call. Sometimes they wouldn't answer the phone. I remember one time I called and I asked if she was there, She told me no. Her aunt told me no. But then in the background, I hear the mother telling our daughter to stop doing something.
Hmm.
Whatever it was she was doing, she was telling her to stop doing it. And I'm like, I thought you said she wasn't there. She was like, oh, that's somebody else.
Right.
So that's the type of issues that this actually caused because they also get other people involved.
Yeah.
They get other people to try to keep the child away from the other parent.
Hmm.
So it's definitely
And a lot of times family members are willing to pay that game because they don't want to offend the family member, or they just don't want to be involved, but you are involved, and you're involved in something that is really, you really really wrong. You should put yourself in the other parent's place, or try to have some kind of empathy in regards to not agreeing with that, letting them know that it's wrong, and give them setting some boundaries in regards to that, because I'm not going to let you involve me with anything like that.
yeah.
I would definitely be setting some boundaries.
And if you know somebody who's doing it, correct them. If you love that person, tell them
Hmm.
where they wrong at.
Yeah.
Don't play in the game with them
Yeah.
because the only person that's going to end up getting hurt is the kids.
Right.
The
Right.
kids are the ones that's going to suffer the long at
Yeah.
the end of it.
It is.
So,
And that's who really pays for it. It really is the kids. And I saw the person that put in the question about that. The kids have aged out, and then when a child is over 18, they have the right to they're not under the umbrella of their parents per se, but a lot of them have been brainwashed.
yep,
A lot of them don't want to contact that other parent because they've been told that parent didn't want them, that parent didn't come around, that parent didn't try all kind of all kind of stories from A to Z. They've been told all kind of things, and it's a fear, that they, or they think that their parent never even wanted them, or. But I always believe that in the midst of all of that, there's always a yearning from a child to meet their biological parent, whether it be somebody that I, was in the midst, or they always have a yearning to be with that biological parents. You see adoptive kids, they always want to find, even they could have had a great life, but they always want to find that adoptive parent. I mean, their biological parent. And I believe the same thing is, for kids who hasn't seen a parent for many, many years. They might have had, in the case of if it's their father, they might have had a father growing up, but they still have a yearning for that biological father, especially like with you, Curtis, that you actually, met her. She saw your face. There has to be some kind of question in her head. But she might be manipulated. She's being manipulated, or has been manipulated to think you're one thing, or she's just fearful of contacting you because of the repercussions she may have from her mother.
exactly. Um, because when I did meet her, um, it was I can't even express the way I felt um, because it was just like wow. Now, one of the things I say all the time, um, how can you love our child but you hate me and we look like twins?
Hmm.
So, and I'm like, I don't see how can you love her, but you looking at me every time you look at her.
But there's different types of love. People don't love the same. What I call love and what you call love and what she call, the mother of your child call love is different. My mom used to always tell me. I used to go, Mama, how could they do that? I would never do that. And my mother always told me, And on her obituary, I put this on her obituary. All my siblings put something that our mom instilled in us, and my mother always said, "You wouldn't do it, but that doesn't mean somebody else wouldn't." She always told me that because I could not understand growing up. Oh my God, how could people treat somebody like that, or how could they do that? And she would always say, "You wouldn't do it, but somebody else would." And and
Yeah.
it always resonates with me, because you can't put yourself in another person's place. Her mom, for whatever dysfunctional reason, because it's dysfunctional, highly dysfunctional, whatever dysfunctional reason that she decided to do that, she rationalized it.
Yes. And want to welcome T Cal to the show. She made a comment. Yes, the child always loses. SAL also said, yes, she told the girls that it doesn't care. He don't pay child
Mhm.
support anymore. And
Mhm.
see, these are lies.
Mhm.
She probably was getting that money and just lying to the
Oh
kids about it.
yeah.
Um, welcome to the show, Gary. I told him I'm not going to call him his full name, but Gary, welcome to the show. And he said,
Yeah.
good question. Then also T Cal sent in another message, never thinking of the long term effect of this on
Mhm.
the child. So many people grow up with daddy issues,
Yeah. It
etc.
is. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Um,
It is. And people don't think that. They think that if I give my child a particular life, or or I'm attentive to that child, but you're still causing that, like you said, you're doing something that's wrong. That's that child's father or mother, whichever way it is, that child has a right to be involved. Now, there's many parents that we know that don't, hey, they live a life they don't want to be involved with their children, or they move on, and their life gets so complicated that they're not involved with their children's life. But somebody who wants to be in that child's life, they're gonna bring something to it in a positive sense. But a lot of people are so insecure, and that's where it comes. A lot of the core of it is that insecurity and that hatred, combination. It makes you not, you know, do the right thing, because that's an insecurity. You're afraid that that child may, have a more of attachment to another parent. There's so many different fears that that person has, but it still shouldn't cause you to make your child make you to keep your child separated from their biological parent, especially one that wants to be involved. Yeah. I just saw a movie recently. It was with The Rock. Um, and it was on the same. I don't know if you saw it, Curtis. It was on the same thing where the young lady thought that he just abandoned them,
oh
and she
wow.
realized that he had been sending letters. He had sent her birthday cards every birthday. He sent letters to her. He tried to see her, but the mother never did. And she was getting ready to get married, and her mother and he came back around. And it really pained him that he never was in his daughter's life. He really didn't live a great life because of it. That was the basis of it. Because he yearned to be with his daughter, but was always prevented to. And he kept on acting. When they got back together, she was like, "Are you going to tell her the truth?" And finally, she did. I think it was her wedding day or the day before or something like that. And she showed her the letters. And she was so disheartened that her mother had kept her father, because they had gotten blowouts. They had, when he first came in town, she was pissed off at him. That you abandoned me. And when she got those letters, man, it changed. Her heart changed, and she looked at her mom. And she didn't. She forgave her. She forgave her mom, but she was really upset that her mom had held those letters and those cards. And he wrote some really beautiful words to her all those years, and so she had to read them right there. You know, yeah, and so then he wind up walking her down the aisle with her mother. So he did get the chance to walk her down the aisle, but at first she was like, "No, he left me, he abandoned me," and none of that was true.
And what happened, kind of like what you said in the movie, when she found out the truth, it changed her relationship with her
And
mother.
yeah.
And that's what would happen with any kids that that once they find out the truth, then that they're gonna be upset at that other parent
Yeah. Oh
that
yeah.
kept them away
Yeah.
because all those lies are gonna be exposed. It's gonna be exposed, and it's crazy.
And that's a reason why I think a lot of parents don't tell because they've told so many lies. So then it's like, how is my child going to look at me? That I've lied all these years, and in regards to this, how is my child really going to look at me? And I think that's a big thing as well. That but instead of just telling the truth and just take it, they better lie.
Yes, had a couple of statements come in and question why they enforce child support,
You're right.
but in father's right.
I see that. Yeah,
Um,
you're right.
Child support, I have. I'm like this. If the parents you lay down together, you know what can happen. You lay down together. You should both be willing to take care of the kids. But then someone get bitter because the relationship is over. Then that's a problem. Welcome to the show, Lester Price the third. Um, also, Gary had asked some mothers use their children as a weapon against the father. Yes, they think just because you have a child with them, oh, either you're gonna get back with me or you won't see this child.
Right.
Now, my daughter is my only child,
Hmm.
and she knew I would do anything for her.
Hmm.
When we first broke up, I tried to put myself on child support. We um, went down to the office and we did a
Hmm.
mediation. She told the woman she didn't want it because she knew I would do more for my child than what they would order. And
Okay.
I tried to plead with her to, hey, let's do this because I knew without it, it may end up getting dirty down the road.
Hmm.
And instead, she didn't want it, so she turned it down. And we ended up going to court. I'm not going to go into detail why,
Hmm.
but ended up going to court. And when we went, we had to do a social study. And the social study, they recommend I got primary custody. So my immediately family know what the deal is, and it was terrible.
Hmm.
So with all that being said, if you have a child with someone, work it out. If your relationship don't work out,
Right.
be there for the kids. Not saying you have to stay in that relationship, but work it out as parents to raise that child together because it's so important for both of you to be in that child life. So had a couple more questions come in. Um where else though? Um why they enforce child support but not father's right. They should enforce it more. They
Yeah.
should definitely enforce it.
Yeah.
Then Gary said court period. Yes. Um,
But a lot of times you can go to court, and that other parent does not follow those orders, and then you have to follow up, and you got to do what you got to do. In regards to that parent, so they're violating the court, or they're violating a court order, and they have to be accountable for violating that because they violate a man, right, or a woman, or whoever has custodial, if they violate that court order, then guess what? They lose. So if another person does as well, they you should lose. You should, and then like you said, you were awarded custodial rights, but you you didn't get granted them.
yeah,
You wasn't granted them.
yeah, because the social study did say I should have primary custody,
Right.
and after that, um, somehow, some way, I don't know how, but the case ended up getting dismissed.
Okay.
They supposedly sent out a postcard, but I never received it to
Mm,
set it up for the final hearing. And I can't prove it, but allegedly, her attorney was the last one to sign out the records. So the case was dismissed and she ran. She took off with our child, and it took me 16 years to find her. So,
mm,
um, so Gary said, hopefully the child discovered what's really going on.
yeah.
Um,
And that's what you hope and pray for. You
yeah,
just got to pray to God. I believe anything in the dark comes out in the light. I believe that, that there will come a day, Curtis, that you will be able to meet up with your daughter, and then you just have to take that, take it from that point and move forward. It does it hurt? Sure, it does. Is it wrong? Yes, it is. It's wrong. And I don't believe that that person lives at peace. That a person that does that, they can't be peaceful. They can't live a life of peace and be content, because that's always there, and like you said, especially someone that's willing to be in that child's life and, to make it better, not to make it worse, to make it better. But, I'm so selfish and consumed with myself that, you know, I'm not putting the child as a priority. I'm putting self as a priority. That child doesn't, I didn't even put that child in the equation.
yes. And not only that, she did. I know personally she tried to lie on me and said I did things that wasn't true. I
Mm-hmm.
try to coach our child because all of that was in the social study. Try to coach her to say certain things. And when you have a 3-year-old child dealing with this and they just repeating what their mom is saying,
Right.
but when I got wind of it, I'm like, hey, this is what I'm hearing. And this person that did the social study, when she talked with our child one on one, she asked about it and she was like, no, my mom told me to say that.
Mm.
So people would lie about anything
Oh yeah.
to
Oh,
hurt the other person.
oh yeah. Yeah.
So,
Some people have a conscience and some people don't. And like I said, but I don't believe a person like that is really at ease. They,
yeah.
they can't be. Mm.
You listen to Speak Under with Who You With, Kurt Dog. We're talking about malicious parent syndrome tonight with Miss Kincaid. You can live chat with us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Periscope. If you have a question for Miss Kincaid or if you have a comment, please send them in. You can also call us. We're taking calls 972 591 3665. That's 972 591 3665. So, but I really have been trying to avoid this this subject as
Mhm.
long as I've been doing the podcast because I know how I still feel today,
Right.
especially with a pandemic going on. I haven't talked to her since her graduation, and I'm like, wow. So it's really hard when you're dealing with a pandemic and knowing that the area that she's in,
Mm.
the crimes that's going on up there, and also that was a hot spot. I want to say before New York really became a hot spot with the
Mhm. It
pandemic.
was. It was.
So so definitely um if you know somebody who is doing these things, trying to keep um the kids away from the other parent, whatever it is, be honest with that person and tell them stop. Get
Mhm.
some help.
Right.
Get some help. Don't use that child as hostage trying to get back at that other parent
Mhm.
because it's not right. Um, SA said, now that the kids are grown, how can my husband start a relationship with them?
Slowly.
Yes. Don't try to force it.
Right. Don't bombard them.
Uh,
Because they have to figure out things as well. It's new to them as well. You're a new, honestly and truly, even though you're their father, they don't know you. So, slowly let them get to know you. Start talking on the phone. Now we got Zoom, we got video. Maybe if y'all are not in the same state, maybe just even start there. Just start chatting with each other. Just do it very slowly. Don't try to bombard them, because they just remember they still have the loyalty to their other parent as well. And then they're confused. They're very, very confused, and they're afraid. They're fearful. They're fearful because they don't know you. They don't know what kind of life you live. They don't know what kind of family background you come from. So they have a lot of questions. Allow them to ask questions. Instead of you being the one that, let them, feel like it's a two-way conversation, that they're asking questions as well as you asking things, the things they love, the things in their life, what they doing, and all of that, and build a relationship. It's important to build a relationship, and a, a trusting relationship. Do what you say. It's going to be vital. You want to disprove everything that other parent said. You don't want to, their parents said you wasn't loyal to them, or you didn't do this and that. You want to be able to do it. In that movie I talked about, he never, he knew what was right, but he never went against them. Even when she was really dogging him, the daughter was, he never told her that what he did. He never did. He just took it. But he was asking the mother, "Are you going to tell her?" He wanted her to tell her. But you have to slowly but surely get in that child's life. Don't bombard them, because it's going to it's going to smother them. Let them go at their pace. Ask them what is this too much? Is this, or do you feel, if anything question I have, if you don't want to answer them, you don't feel comfortable, tell them that it's okay. That don't put them against the wall.
and never talk negative
No,
about their mom. What
never.
happened between the mom and your husband?
Right,
Let that be between them. The
right,
kids should not be involved.
right, right.
Um, because if I had the opportunity, now I did make sure my daughter did made sure she had all my contact information.
Hmm.
Um, but I understand because whatever her mom told her, matter of fact, I'm gonna back up a little bit because at the graduation, after I seen the mom, my wife and I, we was standing up against the wall waiting to go in, and she told my daughter, because I seen my daughter looking behind her, like, there your daddy over there, whatever she had to say. But I made sure for myself, because I'm gonna be straight up honest. For 16 years, I've been concerned, wondering if my daughter was okay, if she was still alive.
Hmm.
And I had no idea. But I didn't know how I was going to feel when I first seen the person that took my daughter from me.
Hmm.
That's 16 years I can never get back.
Right, right.
So it took a lot of praying. And I say it all the time, appreciate you, my great friend, Reverend Jerry Smith.
I know that's right.
Because I seen him the day before we went, and he prayed for me. Because
Amen.
and the whole time it was hard. It was hard,
Yeah, it
but
was.
but thank God I'm a Christian because I can't tell you. I first of all I don't hit a female, so don't ever think that because she lied and told some family members I was abusive, which that was a lie. and I'm one of the most calm person you can ever be around. I think my crew, um, they never seen me get upset at anybody. Well, one Christmas, somebody who wasn't part of the crew, but that's another story. Made a bet, didn't want to pay. So, but other than that, but over 15 years, they never seen me get upset.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's very hard to upset me. Um, don't start talking about Trump because that's something different.
Mhm.
but but other than that, I'm not that type of person.
Mhm.
Never been that type of person. Because my mom told my brother and I both, growing up as kids, if I ever hear about y'all putting your hands on a woman, I'm gonna knock you out. So, and
Yeah.
I'm like, that's put fear in my heart long time ago. So, but when I did see her, I walked up, shook her hand. She thought she seen a ghost.
Mhm.
So I don't know what she trying to get out of it, running off with our child like that. So, but that's it's not just about me tonight. I see SA Allen put up another comment. She said, "I'm asking for me. My dad' wife doesn't accept me as a kid. Um, Me and my dad was building a relationship. Now my dad doesn't answer any of my phone calls. Should I stop calling? I wouldn't. I would send him a text.
Mhm.
Send him a text
Yeah.
because and see that's another sign of it because people get in other relationships and that new person don't want you to have a relationship with your kid, which is really stupid. When my wife and I first got together, I told her up front, I have a daughter. Her mother ran off with her, told her the story, and I said, whenever I do find her, I'm gonna welcome her with open arms. That was something that I said before we got married. And if she would have said, "Oh no, she can't come here," well, you can't have me. I'm a package deal.
Mhm.
I'm a package deal. So if you can't accept my child, you can't accept me.
But
So
everybody doesn't think like that, unfortunately. I've seen many times where someone gets married and, or, they get another significant other and they really don't deal with their, children. They just don't, to me, it's a weakness.
yes,
It's a weakness within that person that they're allowing someone to determine, who, especially with their child, and that person who doesn't want you to have a relationship with the child, there's something wrong with that person as well. Whether it's thinking about that child's father, mother, whatever the case may be, it's still something dysfunctional, highly dysfunctional, that another person doesn't want you to be in contact with your children, and especially if you're old, the kids are older. They're a lot of times they're afraid that they're going to take something away from them, but it is, like I said, that's a form of insecurity. And I'm with you, Curtis. I would still continue to try to, have that relationship, and hopefully one day he breaks, and just, decides to man up, because that's all the thing he needs to do is just man up and say, this is my daughter. We've been established in a relationship, and this is how it is, and hopefully nothing's wrong with him. He's not sick or something like that. Is the reason why he's not contacting.
and also if he's a Christian, I hit him with the word. Send a prayer to him.
Yeah.
Send a prayer. Send him Bible scripture. Whatever you have to do to
Everybody thinking they ain't doing the right thing.
and yeah, whatever you have to do to hit him where it hurt. Hit him with the word. And if he's a Christian, he will come around. And the wife just have to accept it. It's
Hmm.
not like you're 12 years old and you need for him to take care of you. You're
Right,
grown. You're
right,
married.
right.
And Gary, I know that's your wife, so I was trying to keep it separate. but um but also Gary agreed with me. It's a package deal.
It
If
is.
during my
A lot
single
of people, you think it's just as easy as that, but a lot of people don't think of as a package deal. We see a lot of more men than women who really it's desertion to me. It's desert their kids. They desert their kids for the new family. Look at Terrell Owens. His dad lived right across the street from his mom, and he never acknowledged him. They knew that was his child, but those secrets, he never acknowledged them. He lived right across the street, played with his kids, his brothers on the street, and never acknowledged it. Yeah,
yeah, that's crazy.
that's
I don't
crazy.
know why any person will deny your child something that
And you
God
right
gave
there on that child's face.
exactly. God bless you to be able to have the child. Um, and then you want to deny him
Hmm.
or deny her. That's not right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not right.
And
And you're
sometimes
gonna be
there's consequences because there are times when that person might have been married to somebody, or a lot of times like, oh, what tangle webs we weave, but you still got to be accountable even with those webs that we weave. You still got to be accountable to it.
exactly. That's kind of like here in Texas. Um, just Sunday, I believe, it was a amber alert that went out, and when I seen the alert, when I got it, I'm looking at the names and I'm like, wait a minute, both of them had the same last name, and so I end up calling the police department trying to find out more information, and kind of find out they couldn't give none because of the age of the little girl. But I started reading comments on different posts, and one comment stuck out. Someone said, "That's my family. He would not hurt her. He would never hurt her." So that's telling me that dude was dealing with a malicious parent syndrome, where some guys cannot take it. They either gonna go out and take their child,
Hmm.
then that's gonna cause a problem because now you had a police after you. That'll be um, pers- uh, a custodian kidnapping or non-custodian parent
Right.
kidnapping. So now you having more legal trouble. I don't know what the situation was, but based upon my experience, that's what it looked like. And it sometimes people don't have that support group to be able to deal with stuff the right way. And I thank God for the people that was in my life during that time,
Hmm.
because it would have been hard, very hard on me. So
Right. Right.
um so I'm hopefully that situation work out. Whatever the situation was, reason why he took the child, she was found safe. And
Good.
that's all the police department could tell me. I'm like, okay, great.
Okay.
Um, uh, Gary said they do that all the time. Yes, they do. They do. SA said, yeah, he went from talking every day, not ignoring my calls, send a text, and be done. Um,
And then and honestly, and truly, like I said, what if he's sick? What if something happened to him? That you're assuming a negative, or do you know 100% that nothing happened to him?
yeah, I was gonna say if you live close by him, I would go visit him.
Yeah, because what if something happened to him? In this day and age, things can happen. Stroke, heart attack, some kind of disease. Some kind, something he may be going through something. Especially since he was dialoguing with you and talking with you all of a sudden. hopefully nothing did happen. But if like I'm with Curtis, you live in the same town, try to find out.
Yeah, I would definitely, if he don't live far from you, if he in the same state as you, or close by where you could drive to him, I will go check on him just to
Right,
be sure.
right. He's
Don't
okay.
don't assume he just stopped for no reason.
Right,
So
right. Especially if he was dialoguing with you and had that wife. Something might have happened.
now, did you also grow up with him in your life? Okay, she said a lot of stuff. Let me check up on catch up on the question. She said we do need the laws changed. Um, when it comes to fathers being active in their children's lives, yes, we do,
Yeah. And
because
there's a lot of father rights groups, that try to help people get, legal help. And his wife got back together. He wanted to stay with us.
yeah, then that's when she said they were separated, and they were separated, but then they wanted to get
Who's
back
us? His
together.
children.
Her father and his wife was separated,
But
and
she said he wanted to be with us. Who's us?
her and her husband, her and her husband, they wanted he wanted to live with them.
I got
Was
you.
him and his wife separated, but then they got back together.
So before they were separated, what were they in a relationship?
Yeah, uh, did you and your dad have a relationship before him and his wife separated? She said no. I met him at 22 years of age. Um,
Hmm.
no, talking about you and your dad. You and your dad. Were did y'all have a relationship before you cut off communication? She said yes.
Okay.
Um, I would just if it was me, I would send him a heartfelt text. Let him know you love him. Let him know you would like to talk to him to make sure he's okay.
Hmm.
Especially now in a pandemic, yes. And if he's in Florida with y'all, Florida is still a hot spot. So
Yeah.
I would just give him a heartfelt.
And how long has it been since she last talked to him?
Let me see. She haven't put it up yet. How long have it been since you last talked to your dad? But it's definitely um she haven't put it up. Soon as she
Yeah.
put it, I'll
And,
probably let
and
you know.
some and some people are, ruled by their significant other.
Yeah.
Whatever their significant other says goes. Like you said, he didn't establish that they were a package deal at the beginning, and he didn't make really his kids a priority to me. Because if I made my child a priority, it's no way.
Okay. Oh, he's in Chicago
Okay.
and last
Five
talked
months
about a
ago.
month
Okay.
ago.
So yeah, I would definitely try to check up on him to make sure nothing happened to him for him to just stop being in contact with you. Yeah, there may be something going on, and she may not be willing to tell you.
Okay. Gary said, I think race is playing a big part in my wife's relationship with her dad. Um,
So what is
that
it white?
is the father, your father-in-law, wife white, what race?
Since he feels like race is playing a big part. Yeah, you
Uh,
know, because a
he
lot
have,
of factors could be playing a part. In it. Some men they.
oh, her father is white. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Uh, her father is white. And so it could be several things. It's a possibility
The race
race could,
against her because she's biracial. Is she biracial?
yes. Uh,
So is it against her because she's really black? Is her father against her because of the things that's been going on? Has there been some things said?
okay. His wife is white too.
Oh,
So So that can play a big part, and especially in times like this. Um, and unfortunately, your dad just may have to put his foot down, and say, "Hey, um,
And does this the climate that we're currently in, is that playing a part in it? You know,
uh,
the climate of this racial systematic racism. You know, is that playing a part in it?
it,
Systemic, yeah, systemic.
it's a good chance it could be, because with everything that is going on,
Yeah, it's a lot
don't
going on.
um,
But your
don't
child is still your child.
exactly.
So those are just excuses. If it is, I mean, it's just excuses. Unless something's wrong, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. If he's been corresponding with her until about a month ago, I would like to think something's wrong. Yeah.
I have my opinion on it, but I'm gonna leave my opinion out of it on that
Okay.
because um, it wouldn't be good. And because basically, I think I understand the story now, and it will work out. It will work out. Because at some point he's gonna realize this is my daughter, and not only that, I don't care who I'm with. Uh, I'm gonna be with my wife, but if I wasn't with my wife, my daughter is with me.
hmm
My daughter have to be with me.
hmm
So, um, say I said I'm not going that way tonight. We'll talk tomorrow about that. But he's loving toward my wife and our children,
Okay.
and that's a good thing. He should be. So
But he ain't loving. He ain't loving enough.
because he got to look at it like
Unless
this.
something wrong with him, like I said, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt if something wrong with him. But if he okay and healthy, he's not loving like he should be loving. His love is conditional. And with children, you should have with your children, you should have unconditional love. It's not based on conditions. You know, whether things are this way or another. Your love for your children should be unconditional. Because Gary, is your love to your children unconditional? And you know, his wife, is your love to your children unconditional? Could somebody come in there and tell y'all to stay away from your children? So come on now,
Yeah, it's definitely
that's conditional loving, and it's, you know, no, it's not appropriate.
and oh, he said you're also right. Um, you have to because for the last 16 years, and some of my family, um, they definitely don't know exactly how I felt during this time.
hmm
I recently um, told them exactly how I felt
Okay.
about my daughter and not having her in my life.
mm
So that was hard for me to really share because the damage that the mother did with my family by taking her away.
Right.
So every year, my mom would ask me. She would ask me every year. She'd be like, "Hey, isn't her birthday coming up?" Every
mm
year.
Right.
So it's like I always knew when her birthday was,
mm
but every year that month, my mom would ask me about
mm
her birthday. When they
mm
get close to it, she'll be like, "Isn't her birthday coming up?" I'm like, "Yes, it's coming up."
mm
Uh, I would always try to call. Then finally, they changed the number on me.
mm
And the sad part about it, both her sisters know the truth, know
mm
exactly what it is, because some people are not strong enough to deal with this issue. For the simple fact, when you hear in the news about a parent um, killing themselves and killing their kids, it's nine times out of ten, it's because they wasn't strong enough to deal with this issue, uh, with being able to fight, because it do get messy. I lost um, a great paying job trying to get custody of my daughter, having to take off work all the time. She didn't care.
Hmm.
She did not care. So when
And a
I
lot
lost,
of people have Curtis though, but a lot of people that kill themselves and their children have mental illness as well.
and that's why they're trying. They've done studies, but this is not considered as a mental
Right,
illness.
right, right,
But some people have tried to get it diagnosed as one.
right.
Um, because when I first ran across it, I was like, "Wow, man, this is crazy. This is everything I've gone through," and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, "Man." So this is not something I just thought about a couple of weeks ago. This is something that I've been dealing with, and um, when I started to write my book about it and doing my research, that's when I found that about malicious parent syndrome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, um, so it is something tough to deal with,
It is. It's a lot.
and
It's unfortunate.
if you actually know my daughter, when she was coming to church with me, she was always with me, always smiling, always happy, and then I would always laugh because someone come up and say, "Oh, you so pretty," she'd be like, "Just like my daddy." So that was always funny for me, and I remember things like that.
Right,
So,
right.
but also
You're gonna see
Gary,
it again, Curtis. You're gonna see it again. You're
oh
gonna see
yeah,
it.
it will. I will. It
Mm-hmm.
definitely will. When you take the father out of the home, you create exactly,
Mm-hmm. You're right.
exactly, because it's it's something missing. You
Yeah.
need both parents. I used to plead with the mother, her sisters, hey, she need both of us. She need both of us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they didn't they didn't care. It was
Yeah.
all about them.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the show, Krista. God got me. Uh, no, you didn't change your name. Welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in. And it's really it it can be bad, but you have to be strong. You have to have a great support system.
Yeah.
Also, if you are dealing with this or have dealt with it, take counseling. Get some counseling, and then
Woo-hoo.
and also um, as a child, that child gonna need counseling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now, as a grown up, a lot of people grew up with a one parent household.
Mm-hmm.
Then it started making you think, wait a minute, why that other parent wasn't there? Why mom wasn't there? Why dad wasn't there? What was the stories that you heard?
Right.
So now it make you think and make you want to have a dialogue and find out what was the reason behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So, or if you always hear one parent talking about the other parent, they ain't no good, they doing this, they doing that, it really make you think about it. Um, so definitely if you have kids, work with the other parent. You don't have to be in a relationship.
Right.
Work with them, raise the kids together. Now, if it's one of those situations where your life in danger or the kids' life in danger,
Right.
that's completely different.
Yeah.
But
And sometimes people are toxic. they're
yes,
they're not good for the kids. I know examples where um, the in the case of a daughter, a father, every time, even when they were in contact, he tore her down every time. I mean, every time he tore her down, just never, and not really in her life, but when he was, every encounter that she had with him, he was always tearing her down. Not talking about her mother, mainly just really not, but he didn't, he wasn't confident in himself. He lived a particular type of life where he didn't, nobody built him up. So in turn, he couldn't build her up. He didn't know how to treat her, and it did a lot of damage, and still continues to do damage,
And
even
also,
with her being, older now.
you have to realize this generation, a lot of us grew up with a single parent household.
Hmm.
So if it wasn't a father in the house or if the mother wasn't in the house, we have to learn how to love our kids with that other parent
Hmm.
because of the cycle that we went through. Because now you grew up in a single parent household and that's all you know. But now you got to be able to make that adjustment and be able to work with this other parent for both of you can raise your kids.
But
So,
everybody not able, Curtis, unfortunately. A lot of people
no,
don't, that's the right way to think, but a lot of people just don't think like that. And a lot of parents, we got to be real. A lot of parents abandon their kids. They just do. There are parents that do abandon their children for whatever reasons, whether drugs or moving on with another family, or like I said, their learned behavior. They're not committed to their children. There's a lot of kids that fall under that category as well. But there's a lot of father groups out there that, try to help fathers with legal, help and things like that. But they can go so far, like I said, the laws need to change, and that's why it's important for us to vote. And these are conversations you have to have with your council people. Not somebody, because you ain't getting to the president. You got to get to your local people and start having these conversations about that. But if not enough people are coming, the legislature will never change for it. The law will never change. It has to, just like we're saying Black Lives Matter. You're getting out in the street and you're showing something. There has to be a movement for this to change. That's the only way it's really really going to change, is if you change those laws.
exactly. Uh, Crystal has said yes, because my baby father didn't have his, but I can't understand why he's not there for his child. That's we have to break that cycle. We
Yeah,
have to. Uh,
and 70 to 75% studies show 70 to 75% of those who um, came up in a particular household, it's learned behavior. Those 70 to 75% will repeat that exact behavior. And even though they know it's wrong, they know that how they felt growing up without their father or mother in their lives. 70 to 75%, they will repeat that very behavior. They
yes,
will repeat it. So the 30% to 25% that doesn't repeat it, that person has really done some work. They've done some work not to repeat that. They were intentional not to repeat that. But if you're not intentional, your behavior will not change.
yes. We have about 5 more minutes with Miss Kincaid. She gotta go
That's
and pick
bad.
up her grandson.
Oh my God, he has
So,
a job. Praise the Lord.
oh, you got a job. Where are you working at? No.
Android.
Oh, okay.
We
Well,
take turns. We a village that takes turns. This is my day.
oh, okay.
Just
Hey,
happy.
it
Like, we
take a
don't have a
village.
car, so he paying up for a car, so that we ain't gonna have to be doing this much longer.
Hey, it take a village
Oh,
to raise a
it's a
child.
village. It's a village. It's a village. We all working.
So, but we can definitely keep the conversation going.
Hmm.
You could chat live with us. If you have a comment, definitely send it in. Uh, um, Krista also said I did everything different that my mom did, but you should want that change. Yes, sometimes it's about finding that right person, um, knowing for sure, um, and you still don't know for sure before you actually see the true colors. But
Until that
wait,
situation appears, you don't know how
yeah,
any person is going to react. They can say, "Oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm ride or die, no matter what." But when that situation appears, then That's the way they go. There is no excuse. I'm with you.
It's
There's
none
no,
whatsoever.
you know. I've come from a single family home myself, and my mom really did something that was not, it was negative to me. A lot of times she would talk about my father, and first it was like hurting, hurting, hurting. But when I got about 13, I realized that guess what? She telling the truth. You know, should she have told me as a young child that? No, never. Not to me, but she was telling the truth. And then I started agreeing with her, and she was like, what? And it seemed like we didn't even have the conversation as much anymore. But when I got older, I confronted my father and told him, my life was blessed. It was good. I had a great childhood. So I don't want you. I try to believe him. I try to tell him that, you don't owe me anything. But the guilt to his dying day, he had guilt. The guilt, he could not move beyond that because he knew, you know, and he didn't want to be a part of it really still. He just didn't really want to connect, and it was okay with me. I had to, go to God, and God allowed me to be relieved of that. I didn't have that yearning for a father because I saw who he was too. And guess what? I was okay with him not being in my life because most of the time when he talked, it was something negative. And so I was like, I didn't want to be around that kind of spirit.
Exactly. Um, Miss Kincaid, I know it's that time. If you
Thank
could
you,
give
Kurt,
out,
so much for allowing me to come back on your show again. I appreciate it.
you're welcome anytime. Could you give out your information and for people can reach you? If you, I know you've been busy lately, so
Praise the Lord for being
that's a good thing.
praise the Lord for busy.
Amen.
But I'm a licensed professional counselor in private practice in Grand Prairie, well, really the DFW area for those who are out of town, the Dallas Fort Worth area. My telephone number is 214-668-7051. My email address is transitions316@gmail.com. And I would love to be your counselor. If you need counseling, I would love to be your counselor.
And I'm gonna I'm not gonna be on here too much longer, but I'm gonna call you once I get off the air and let you know about the text I sent you on Friday, I believe it was. And I'll
Me?
talk. What I asked you Friday, the emergency.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
All right. I
I was
would
like, that's my older syndrome. I think if it didn't happen today, I don't remember.
Hey, I understand y'all been working quite a bit.
Okay.
Working early in the morning to late at night, and I
Wow.
definitely appreciate you for taking time out.
I
And
appreciate you inviting me. I really, and and like you said, for those who are out here, just make the best of how it is, and if you're a Christian, or you know God, trust Him. You know, Unfortunately, everybody that's our fathers are not, paternal. They're just like all mothers are not maternal. People think that every mother is a mother. They're not. Every father is not a father. And a lot of time it's not giving them an excuse. It's just a history. It's just learned behavior that they know. The mother and the father. That something happened with your daughter's mother that made her feel like this was okay.
exactly.
There's something that's happened that made her think that this was okay to do. It's not, but there was something that made her, and it comes from her background. You said her sisters and them are all quiet. Look at that family dysfunction.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, you really got to look at that family dysfunction and see what it, and see that it's deep rooted. And if you go back and go back and go back, you probably continue just to see it cycle, cycle, cycle. And it's unfortunate because, if that was my child, I would have been like, don't do it. I would have been really on you about trying to keep that person away unless you filled my head up with all kind of stuff, because that's what something that she could have done to her family. But you said the sister knows the truth, but It's unfortunate, but I believe that you will be with your daughter. I
Oh
do,
yeah,
and
it's
I'm
just a
praying
matter of
for it.
time.
Yeah, I'm praying. That God does it sooner than later. That union. And it's gonna. I can't wait to hear about it and see it. I just can't, because it's gonna be happening. And good night.
All right, appreciate it,
Okay.
Miss Kincaid. I'll call
Yeah.
you probably in about 15
Okay.
minutes.
Okay.
All right, be safe.
All right.
Thank
You.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. We had the one and only Miss Great Kincaid on the show. We're gonna see if we could bring her back again here pretty soon when she have time. Because right now they have been pretty busy um, with the pandemic. A lot of people are needing counseling right now. If she didn't answer your question tonight, if you want to send me a message, we could definitely um I can send her the information and she will respond to you. The first time she was on the show, I think I received maybe 10 emails or something about how can they get counseling. And I sent it to her. She took her time and answered each and every one of them right away. So I appreciate her for whenever she take the time out of her schedule to come on. She had her last client, I think she got finished at 8 o'clock. And she was like, well, I can't get home in time enough. I said, look, I'm on your time. You're doing me a favor. I appreciate it. And we definitely need counseling. If you or someone that you know that may be dealing with malicious parent syndrome, definitely send them this video. Ask them to watch it. Ask them to watch it and ask them to change the thought of the parent that they laid down with and had this child with. Because the only one that's really going to suffer is that child. The not knowing who their mother is, not knowing who their father is. And you don't want to wait until that other person is laying in a casket and having that child is coming to the funeral to say they hello and goodbye. So definitely, um, if you're going through it, definitely talk to your friends, your family members, whoever it may be, and you can identify a person that is doing this. They will constantly talk about the father. They will constantly say, or the mother. They will constantly say they don't want to do nothing for their child. They'll talk bad about them. They'll make plans when they supposed to spend time with the child. They'll say, oh, they can't come. They have this to do. They have homework to do. They have an event they need to go to. Or if they playing sports, they'll give them the wrong time. Or if they call, oh, he's busy. She busy. She doing their homework. Or they had an event today and they not here. Just denying the child from talking to their parent. So definitely um, take this advice, be peaceful about it, and allow that other parent to spend time with that child. It can make a difference because if not, when it's all said and done, that child is going to grow up and going to always wonder what was there, where was that other parent at? And then when they find out the truth about it, it's not going to be good because then they're going to be like, everything you said to me was a lie. So work with the other parent. I appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight. Appreciate all the comments that came through. And um, it's not just about me. I know there's a whole bunch of people that is dealing with this issue. Um, I'm here if someone need to talk because they dealing with it, that didn't want to call in, they want to send a message in, feel free to call me. I will be your support group. You can reach me 972 and I will support you with it because it's hard to go through it by yourself. Um, no matter how tough you may be, you can call me. I will support you. I will try to lead and guide you in the right way. So, other than that, until next time, I hope y'all enjoyed the show. Share the show. I will talk to each and every one of you soon if the good Lord say the same. Until next time, I love you. Peace.